Wow, has it been a crazy week with Ford and General Motors on the topic of right to work on your vehicle. I'm still learning about this. I've been kind of following it behind the scenes. I've heard about this topic over the past few years when you heard about John Deere and some of the stuff that the farmers were upset about. I grew up in a rural area, so I used to hear about farmers and the challenges around how high-tech these things are, and they're difficult to work on, and I was not aware that some of the stuff is out there, like specific with John Deere, that you can't even work on some of these trucks. And now the president's involved, and I totally get it. If we have faced challenging times in the last few years, car prices have went through the roof. Brands across all of them have had more issues than we've ever seen. Inflationary, quality, engines failing, stuff we haven't seen really ever. It's happening more and more, and all at a time that vehicles are more expensive than we've ever seen. And then now what are we dealing with? You could go drop $70, $80, $110,000 on one of these trucks, and you might not be able to work on it. So we're going to be setting up a video with some different manufacturers here in the soon, as well as some mechanics and technicians, just to talk about their perspectives on this. I'm going to give you just my high level thought on this whole thing. These vehicles specifically, like I look at trucks like this one is actually probably not a great example. This is probably one of the most less advanced engines out here. It doesn't have a high pressure fuel system. It's not a diesel, no high pressure exhaust system for emissions. This is just a standard Ford 7.3 Super Duty. It should be about as simple, reliable, and you should be able to work on it. But Jim Farley and Mary Barra and some of the other car manufacturers are, I'm not saying drawing a line in the sand, but they've started to say the liability with potential risk with software and calibration of special sensors and hacking, cybersecurity. There's more going on with these vehicles than there were 20 years ago, and these manufacturers are now asking for rules to be put in place where people like us, DIY people, can't even work on their trucks. Are you guys cool with this? I look at these two trucks right here. This is a high output Power Stroke diesel, and this is a 7.3 gas. The Super Duty in general is a more robust than your standard pickup trucks. Why? Because it needs to be made for construction, work, tough environments. But when I look at this right here, this is a much more sophisticated powertrain. Number one, the high output diesel. You got a big diesel, you got a big turbo you got to worry about failing. You got a super sophisticated emission system you have to worry about. Now, if you look all over, and what I'm actually looking at as I'm catching myself, I'm actually not seeing the sensors on this front bumper. Actually, none of these are, which is a good thing. It's less issues. There's no sensors on the front, but we start looking at ones like this. You see the sensors along the bottom bumper? All these specific sensors that go around the bumper, these things require calibration. You start taking off bumpers and doing things, ADAS sensors up in these front windshields. If you haven't replaced a windshield in a modern vehicle that has any sort of specific calibration, that takes a windshield replacement of a few $100s to something that could be like insanely expensive, like $1,000 or more for these new windshields, because once you replace this windshield that goes inside of this, you then have to have either the manufacturer or specialty equipment to recalibrate this. I know because I've had a few of these windshields get cracked, and I remember the first time it happened, it was like 2017, blew my mind on a Raptor, that was gonna be like a $1,200 windshield because not anybody could replace the windshield. I think there's a lot of nuance to this topic that everybody wants to kind of go into the polarizing, it's all me versus them, and the tribal mindset of he's bad, I'm good. We're not gonna get into that. But we also, if we're gonna be going and buying $100,000 vehicles, when these vehicles get outside of warranty, I feel like I should be able to work on my own vehicle. Now, while it's under warranty, that's an interesting topic, because if this vehicle's under warranty, number one, I'm not gonna mess with it myself. I want the dealer to work on it because I want the product to be fixed under warranty correctly. But here's a question for you guys. I'm a DIYer. I've did lots of lift kits on trucks before. I've changed tires before. I've changed brakes before. I've changed turbos on diesels before, fuel systems on diesel trucks, gas trucks. I get my hands dirty. Why? Because it saves me money. That's why we all try to do this stuff, is to save us money. But these manufacturers are pushing back and saying, you're not gonna be able to work on this thing in the future. Is it nefarious? Is it because they want to control us? Or is it more than that? I think everything boils down to money, generally speaking, at the end of the day. I think this entire thing is driven by money. Is it because the manufacturer wants to make more money in a service bay back there, or a local franchise or dealership? Maybe. Or could it be people are worried about, they change some sensor up front in this front bumper, and this sensor doesn't get calibrated correctly, and someone hits a fire hydrant or hits a kid or something, and someone gets hurt or killed. And then they find out it wasn't installed correctly or it wasn't calibrated correctly. Imagine the risk for these manufacturers that if someone goes and performs one of these services and they happen to be in one of these vehicles and someone gets hurt or killed or whatever, whose liability is it on? That's the risk that we start hearing about, and that's why I think these manufacturers are being concerned about it. But I actually think it's more than that. If we look at what Tesla and some of these other car manufacturers have done, look at where a lot of their profit is generated from. It's not from the actual sales purchase of these vehicles. People don't realize it's like Ford and these legacy car manufacturers, they've made money on the profit of this vehicle. Let's say this truck is $90,000 and they make it for $75,000, and maybe the dealer makes their cut, and at the end of the day, maybe Ford's making $10,000 on this. Maybe, I don't know the specifics, but I'm just using this example. Other manufacturers actually are not making that much money on the sale of the vehicle. You know where they're making the money on? Hold up, I have to catch myself. I was wrong. According to this, it's saying Tesla does not sell our data. Every single one of these vehicles through this entire lot, pretty sure, I want to clarify, including my truck, including I think every brand, these things now are connected through data, whether it's through cellular connection, Wi-Fi, that they are sending data back. What are they doing with that data? Well, we don't know. We're not privy to that information. But that data is worth a lot of money. And if you could disable that or change that or however, that could be a huge source of revenue loss. It's just another potential thought. I'm going to tell you one of the things I've been thinking about the last few years. Some of these trucks behind us have payload ride height sensors. See that right there? That is a little arm for a ride height sensor. This is a Platinum Super Duty, and I'm guessing, yep, there's another sensor right there. See that right there? That's a sensor. What does that do? What that little sensor does is it actually figures out how much payload is on this cool scale inside the truck. It's a smart scale. I think it's actually a pretty neat little system. And it shows people, hey, this is what's going on right now, so you can kind of see what is being recorded through the vehicle. Point of this sensor is showing the smart scale of how much weight is in the vehicle. I see a value in this, especially if you owned a construction company or some sort of company where you needed a heavy duty truck. This could be a potential tool that a fleet company could use that, hey, I'm not overloading my vehicles. This is not required that I'm aware of by law. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. But I've thought all along, if you've got all these sensors on your vehicles and it's recording how much payload's on the vehicle, what happens when you're over payload on that vehicle? What happens if that sensor says you're over limit on that? Where does that data go? That's something to think about. Or what if it sees, man, it's telling you put your hand on the steering wheel more often. What's going on here? Or man, you're really accelerating hard. You're slipping the rear wheels a lot. You're really braking hard. You're going around corners hard. What happens with all that data? Then mix in right to repair. What does this look like? Interesting times is what it looks like to me. So the question is, right to repair. Do you guys have the right to repair your vehicle when you buy a $70,000 to $100,000 vehicle? Man, I would sure hope so. I know there's some nuance to this, guys, and I also still sort of understand if you start modifying these vehicles, some of that transfer of risk, who is that on at that point when you're doing that? So the question I have is, if we pay our money to buy these vehicles, do we have the right to repair and work on these? I'm a pretty hands-on capable person, and if I could save thousands of dollars maintaining and taking care of my vehicle, I'd like to be able to do that. And I know President Trump seemed to be a little confused on some of the stuff that was just recently mentioned. Not to bring in politics, because that's not the point of this. The point of this is, you buy a 50, 60, 70, it doesn't even matter the price of the vehicle. Should you have the right to repair and work on your own vehicle? And where does that stop? At what point is it that you're no longer allowed to work on that vehicle, or you maybe lose a warranty or coverage or something like that? I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on this, because this is a hot topic right now, and I totally understand where people are thinking this is a hot topic, because vehicle prices are more expensive than they've ever been. They've got more issues than they've ever been. And now we're maybe being told you can't work on them. Ooh, this is a tough one. And this is gonna impact a lot of small shops. It's gonna impact DIYers like myself that works on these vehicles and maintains them. Love to get your guys' comments and thoughts on this. Thanks for watching.